Hey, party people. It's Brandi and Cesley, and we're back with Blooming Through Faith, the podcast that helps you grow and bloom in your mindset, lifestyle, health, and wealth. We want you to know that you are capable, beautiful, and worthy. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a rating so more people can find us and listen. Today, we're going to talk about dun dun dun. Shutting up, and yes, that is a cuss word in some people's houses, okay? Shutting up your insecurities, okay? This one, woo!
Let's go.
We are hyped about it, okay?
A hot topic.
It's a really, really major topic, and we're fired up about it. So before we get into that, we just want to remind you that God created you uniquely with a purpose, okay? To embrace your individuality and trust in his design. This is so major because sometimes we have like an imposter syndrome and we think we need to be something that we're not in order to achieve our goals. And that's just not the truth. What we need to do is show up uniquely as ourselves and be genuine. Be you, because the original copy is worth more. Original is worth more than a copy. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say there. Okay. So do you know your worth? Do you know your mission? Do you know your niche? Do you know your purpose, right? That's the biggest thing too, is just taking some time to figure out what sets your soul on fire, why you were created, and then go in the direction of helping others through that and fulfilling your purpose, right? Knowing your worth is the single biggest difference between where you are and where you deserve to be. Okay. I know. I actually got that from Trent Shelton.
That's fire. Love Trent
If
Shelton.
you haven't listened to Trent Shelton's podcast, that boy will
gets you fired up.
Okay.
I try to listen to him like before I work out because he gets me all fiery. And then I need
100%.
to do something.
I can feel like when I'm listening, I can run through a wall. 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And you probably could.
I wouldn't feel good.
We're going to talk about, before we get into our biggest tips on how to shut up those insecurities, first thing we have to talk about are, what are insecurities? What do we mean when we talk about insecurities? Usually we are operating out of fear. When we have an insecurity, it's because there is something that we have a fear of. It's either a fear of others' opinions, it's a fear of failure, it's a fear of losing what you have now. So a good example is, if you know me personally, or maybe even just by listening to me over these last few episodes, I have a big personality. Brandi and I both have very big, energetic personalities. It's one of the reasons we're so successful in what we do. But in the field that I used to be in, and other jobs that I was in, and in other places, even other friendships that I was in, I was told to tone down my personality because I was too much. And I did that. Like, I really did. I would walk into a room and I would tone myself down because I was afraid of who I was, how it would affect other people. So we have this huge fear of other people's opinions. And I'm going to get into that a little bit later in this episode, but point blank, if you are in the wrong circumstances, your giftings will fall flat. If you're in the wrong space, in the wrong place, who you are won't be received well. And that's not your fault. So then we have a fear of failure, a fear of losing what we have. Most of the time, our insecurities is really caused by like criticism of others. So our insecurities don't generally come from an internal place. We hold on to them a lot and we think like, well, I don't like this about myself. I don't like that about myself. This is my problem. We treat it like it's a very internal problem, but most of our insecurities are caused by these external forces, these outside forces that we just adopt into ourselves. Like, we decide to hold on to everyone's opinions of ourselves. It really is usually what triggers people's self-esteem issues. The biggest thing is comparison of others. So often, you guys, we tell ourselves that if we want to have what other people have, or if we want to achieve what other people have achieved, then we have to look like them, talk like them, act like them, be like them. And it's just not true. A lot of this can also come from harsh criticism that you might have had either in bad relationships or in childhood. I know that can probably be a little bit triggering for a lot of people. We don't want to bring up the fact that maybe we weren't treated the best when we were children. Maybe our parents just weren't ready to have the right types of conversations with us. We are all living life for the first time. And that's something that was really hard pill for me to swallow when I was learning about my parents and the way that they were raising me is they're going through life for the first time. So when I was a kid, maybe they didn't say all the right things to me when I came to them with self-esteem issues or things like that. And I can, we hold on to that. Maybe you came out of, Brandi and I have both come out of some really bad past relationships. And I can promise you that until we learned our worth, we held on to those people's opinions of us and didn't even realize that it was affecting how we'd made every decision every single day. So today we're going to really teach you how to not operate out of fear anymore.
Yeah, I love that. And I think so many times we look at our worth as being, like you just said, how somebody has treated us or what the number is in our bank account or what our title is. And none of that has to do with our worth and our purpose, right? And touching on what Cesley just said with some past relationships, I know for the longest time, I was in a domestic violence relationship. He almost killed me. I was embarrassed because my whole life I've been a leader. My whole life I've been so strong. So in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm so pathetic. How did I let this happen? How did this happen to me? I can't tell other people this. They're not going to think I'm strong. They're going to think I'm weak. They're going to judge me. And at some times people did. And people weren't there when I needed them, right? So it did make me question myself and my worth for the longest time until I said, oh, hell no. That was his insecurities. That was his issues. He was treating me that way because I was too much for him, right? And a lot of times that happens. Like if you've been cheated on, that's the same thing. It is not because of you. It is not because you are not worthy. It is because of that person's own insecurities and knowing that they do not deserve you. Okay. Yeah. So you are worthy. Woo, sorry.
Yeah.
So,
And even just to touch on that too, like verbal abuse is a huge issue with this and this insecurity. A lot of times, and I know you experience that too. I mean, on top of domestic violence, like it just compounds. And so often we allow things like that. So when we think of things like domestic violence, we're like, oh man, that is so terrible. But when someone speaks to us in a certain way, sometimes we allow that because we're like, well, it's not this, like they're not physically hurting me, but you are holding on to these people's opinions of you that really has nothing to do with you at all. You might as well be a stick in the mud. Like you could be anybody. You could be anybody and they would be projecting this onto you. It happens so often with narcissistic people. It happens a lot with people that have borderline personality disorder, these personality issues that you might not even be aware that you're dealing with somebody that has that. And they are just exploding these opinions on you that you just internalize and swallow. And eventually it becomes truth. And I deal with and speak to, especially in the realm of ministry, so many women who have adopted these opinions about themselves and they don't even realize what comes out of their mouth. They are constantly fighting against this negative self-image and it breaks my heart. It's something I fight against every single day with the women that I talk to.
Yeah. There's a few other examples I kind of want to use too, right? Do you have a friend who makes a joke and puts you down? Ooh. Or a family member, right? I mean, listen, I used to get that all the time.
I had some friends I broke up with because of that.
Yes.
Like, oh, you're not nice to me.
No, not at all. You like treat you differently, especially in a group, like make jokes about you and shake it off as if it's just a joke. Or no, it's not. It's their own insecurities. A real friend is not going to put you down, not even in a joking manner, period. Never. I'll be very vulnerable with you guys. I am not good at grammar. Okay. I'm not. If you're following me on, and you'll probably know when we have our Instagram for Blooming Through Faith, you'll see, oh, Cesley posted that or Brandi did because of the grammar. It may not always be perfect, but for the longest time, I was so insecure with myself because I had people who would make fun of me and mock me because of that. And these are people that are friends and they didn't know that they were doing me so much harm. So I would have so much insecurity of what I posted when I posted it. And now I'm like, listen, this is who I am.
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. I will, if I have some time, I will try to proofread it, but that's not always the case, right? And so just be mindful of how you take what other people say. Now, here's another thing. We care way too much about being liked, okay? And that's why we never do the things that we love. That's one of the reasons we are held back. And I was that way. I was for so long. And it's a trauma response, right? I've lost so many family members. I've lost friendships, not because of my own thing. People have died and people have treated me bad. And, the breakups have happened. But I was so scared of losing anybody else. I was so scared of losing more friendships and losing more family that I just put up with how people were treating me, right? I just kept hanging out with the same people, even though they weren't bringing value to my life because I thought I had to. And it was like a scarcity mode. Now, and I am going to cuss, I don't give a shit what people think of me because I know my reason. I know my purpose. I know my mission. I know my heart. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't steal. I am constantly trying to, be a better version of me to help other people. And that's not what everybody's going to like. Right?
Yeah.
People are going to judge me no matter what. Same with Cesley. People wanted her to calm down. People wanted her to not be herself. No, you need to be yourself. Don't dull your sparkle for anybody else. Don't pretend to be something you're not. Show up uniquely as you. And those people who are supposed to be part of your life will be. And they will cheer you on and they will support you. This is something so big. Sorry, I'm going, Cesley.
Go.
I heard this in another podcast, but the top 10 regrets of the dying. And we're not going to get into all 10 of them right now. I actually would like to make a podcast about those because that goes really deep. But one of the top 10 most regrets of the dying was I never pursued my dreams and aspirations. And the reason why, Cesley, is because they cared too much what other people had to say.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm telling you. And it's so true what Brandi said about we accept what other people say about us, but in reality, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the episode, but you're in the wrong space. You're in the wrong place. There is nothing wrong with you. I mean, constantly, you have no idea from the time I was in high school. It really started in middle school because girls can be vicious. Girls can be mean. I am doing my best to raise a young woman who is going to be kind and loving and just so not that way. And I pray that we are able to raise up a generation of women that is different. But I'm telling you, when I was in middle school, there was a target on my back. And I think it's because I've always had a big personality. I've always been really excited about life and excited about things and probably a little bit hyper. It's just, it is who I am. I'm not going to apologize for it because now in the position that I'm in, it's one of the best qualities about me. However, it was something that was targeted and pushed down for so long. And what Brandi said in the beginning of this episode about God creating you uniquely you, he made us all different specifically for a reason. Your personality is meant to impact somebody. Your personality and the way that you are is meant to change someone's life. And it will never happen if you allow other people to take pieces of who you are. Just, it's the worst. So on that note, actually, number one, we're going to talk about 10 ways to shut up your insecurities. Number one is the power of affirmations and prayer. So the first thing I want to say about this is not everybody is a worthy judge of who you are, right? Like, would I trust if something happened to one of my family members and they were going up against a judge and I knew this judge was corrupt, would I be like, yeah, that's the judge I want for my kids? No. Like, absolutely not. So are you allowing people to judge you that are not worthy judges of your body, your character, your personality? You need to look at others and look at their lifestyle and look at the way that they're living. And if you hear them and the things that come out of their mouth are just negative about people around them, that's not someone whose personality or whose opinion you need to accept. We don't need to consume their content. And if you're going to be able to fight against other people's opinions or insecurities of you, you have to be guarding yourself and arming yourself. I think of it as like armor.
I feel like either one would work.
I don't know. We're going to have to look it up. Brandi said she's bad at grammar. Apparently, I can't say words.
Words are hard.
I'm just going to say it. I think that's the wrong word, but now I like it. I'm just going to make it part of my personality. It's my word now. I'm going to say it. You have to be saying daily affirmations. You have to be, and we talked about this in a previous episode. So go back and listen. I don't remember which one it was, but it's so important to be writing down. Maybe you keep it in a notes on your phone. Maybe you write it down on a piece of paper. I actually have like actual just printer paper that I have taped up on walls in my bathroom, in my children's bathroom. I have them all over the house. I have one right over there actually that I'm looking at right now. They're everywhere, in my office, everywhere. And they're just positive affirmations. They talk about, the Lord has created me unique. The Lord has created me in his perfect image. I am capable. I have a beautiful spirit. I have a beautiful heart. I am positive. If you're not speaking life over yourself, then what other people speak over you is going to be your identity. So you have to make sure that you are combating against other people's opinion by creating a happy and positive opinion of yourself. Does that make sense?
It does. And Cecily just said, and I loved it, like she has them all over her house and in her
Everywhere.
kids' rooms. So yes, we are talking about affirmations for you, but speak those affirmations over your children, right? Have your children start speaking them. We on the way to school this morning, we are listening to Snoop Dogg's affirmation. I don't know if you guys have heard it. And you might not be a Snoopy fan, a little Snoop Doggy Dog. But Troy loves it, and it is so cute. And when he's singing it on the way to school, it just brightens my day. So yeah, try that with your toddlers.
And catch your kids when they're saying negative things about themselves, because it's our first trigger is to go to the negative. Like, I'm not very good at that. I mean, as soon as my children say that, and other people have noticed it too. Actually, just the other day, my kids were trying to help me build something at church. It was like this basketball thing. And my son was like, I'm just not good at building things. I guess I can't do it. And I was like, absolutely not. You are incredible. This is a really hard thing to build. And you came out here and you're not getting frustrated and you're doing your best. That's awesome. And actually one of the pastors came out and he goes, hey, way to go, mom. Like, way to talk positive to your kids. Like, the people will hear that. And that positivity is catching. So not only will you help yourself, but that light is going to spread to other people too.
Oh, yeah. And I love what you just said about can. So it might be our fitness background, but we can't stand the word can. See what I did there? It is not, it's a cuss word. Don't say it, because you truly can. It might be harder. It might take longer. You might have to figure out a solution, but you truly can do anything. My 4-year-old, he says it too. He says, I can't. I said, yes, you can, baby. You can do anything you put your mind to.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Cool. All right, y'all. Number 2, we're moving right along. Number 2, this is going to sound a little crazy, but it is a really great method that is used in therapy, especially trauma therapy. I have learned it from my many therapy sessions. Love therapy. Can't recommend it enough. Okay. Catastrophizing thing. If you have a lot of anxiety, if you have a lot of insecurities about something that you're trying to do, maybe it's something new. Maybe it's just like, I work at a job where I have to speak in public and I get nervous every time I get to the office because I'm terrified of speaking. Maybe it's I don't go and join a gym to help myself mentally, physically, everything, because I'm scared that other people are going to judge me at the gym. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. You need to take 5 minutes, all right? Stop the thoughts, right? You have to take your thoughts captive. So you really have to stop, reassess what you're thinking. So let's just use the gym example, okay? Because I talk to people a lot of times that are terrified to join a gym, go to a workout. Even when I'm training someone, I'll talk to them for the first time and I'll say, what are you the most excited or nervous about to start this fitness program? And every single person says the same thing. I'm nervous because I haven't worked out in a long time and I don't want to look stupid. I'm like, okay. So let's catastrophize it. What is the absolute worst thing that could happen in this situation? Like, literally, what's the worst thing that could happen? You show up to the workout the first day, fall flat on your face, and totally embarrass yourself. I mean, that would be pretty bad. I feel like that's maybe the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah.
What's the likelihood, first of all? Now we're going to go back and say, at a scale of 1 to 10, what's the likelihood that that's going to happen? Maybe like a 1. Like, that's probably not going to happen to you. So even if it does happen, do you think you'll be okay to come back? Like, what do you think people will do? Well, they'll probably help me up and they'll probably like ask if I'm okay and we'll all probably laugh about it. Okay, so we made some new friends. So we catastrophize it. The worst that happened was we have a memory and we made some new friends. Doesn't sound so bad, right? So if we can work through those problems and solutions in our own head before it actually happens, then one, we've already planned out the entire scenario and seen all the different ways it could go. We've figured out what the worst case scenario is. And then we've been able to kind of talk ourselves off the ledge before it even happens. So maybe it's even public speaking. I'm going to go speak in public. I'm terrified that I'm going to mess up a word. Well, what happens if you mess up? I promise you people won't remember. They don't care. Like, they're going to go about their lives. Okay. All right. I feel better about it. So make sure that you catastrophize it, then shut it down. All right. Number 3. I'm just going to keep rolling. I'm rolling. I'm going to keep on rolling.
Let's go.
Number 3 is you have to prepare for setbacks. So grace is the greatest gift you can give yourself if you are somebody that deals with insecurities, and we all are. You are never going to get where you want to be by winning all the time. Like if you are listening to Brandi and I and you're like, man, I'm just talking myself up now. If you're like, they are so fantastic. I love them. They have so much energy. Like we have failed 99.99% of the time. We have failed at so many things, and that's okay. Like you have to be able to prepare for setbacks, give yourself grace, and roll with it. The insecurity comes from the fear of not being able to survive failing, right? Like we are terrified that if we fail, we're not going to survive the backlash of what happens. But your setbacks and losses are woven into who you are. Some of your greatest qualities, your empathy, your ability to, understand other people come from moments where you've had setbacks. I understand when others are insecure or scared or struggling. If I have somebody new that comes to my class, I understand what they feel like because I've been there. And that only happens because you have your setbacks. So just prepare for them. Prepare for the fact that you're going to have setbacks in this. You're not always going to feel 100. You don't listen to this podcast and go, now I will never feel insecure again. You're going to feel insecurities. Give yourself some grace.
I love that. All right, guys, let's go. Number 4, surround yourself with positive people. All right. Seek out friends, family, and mentors who uplift and encourage you. Their positive influence can counteract your feelings. All right. So this is the biggest thing. You are who you surround yourself with. You hear that, right? You are like the top 5 people that you surround yourself with. Make sure you're surrounding yourself with the right people. The people who believe in you, who believe in your goals, who share the same goals, that want to work out with you, who want to start business with you. Biggest thing here too is mentorship. Do you have a mentor? If not, you should find one, whether that's in the church, whether that's in business, whether, it's in something in your life. Like I've had numerous mentors in my life and I am better because of them. And I'm so thankful for them, right? And your mentor is truly wanting to help you be a better version of yourself every single day. Your mentor is also going to be honest with you, right? Which is really, really, really important. So surround yourself with positive people. Number 5, challenge your initial thoughts. Okay. So take your thoughts captive. Negative thoughts often don't align with reality. And just kind of what Cesley was saying before, right? Like what's the worst thing that could happen? And and again, we talk about therapy a lot. I have a therapist. I love her, but that's what happens in my mind sometimes. Like I can't go to sleep because I'm worrying about this could happen or that could happen. I'm so scared. And I'm talking to my therapist. I'm like, I'm so scared somebody's going to break into our house. And she's like, okay. Now if somebody, yeah, seriously. I'm like, she goes, so if somebody does, what steps would you take? Do you have an action plan? I'm like, oh no. So let's create an action plan. If that worst case scenario does happen, how will you handle it? And now that I have an action plan, I feel more comfortable, right? I'm like, okay, if this were to happen, we're going to be okay. But anytime an initial negative thought goes into your mind, say, nah, not today, Satan.
Not today.
We're going to put a positive in our mind, right? We're not going to say, oh man, my pants don't fit like they used to. I am not worthy. I haven't been working out. I'm so disappointed. No, it's okay. You're going to say, you know what? Yes, just stop right there. You're going to say, you know what? It's been a hard month. I'm surviving and thriving and taking care of the things that I need to take care of. Maybe I wasn't so great with my nutrition this month. That's okay. I'm going to do better next month. Okay. Give yourself grace. Negative comes in, slap it out like a fly. Slap that fly, okay? And put that positive in. Like you really are in control of your mindset and your thoughts. Okay, I'm done slapping flies. Go ahead, give us number 6.
Number 6, y'all, this is a big one. And I actually touched on this a little bit before, but let go of the people and places that fuel your insecurities. Come on. All right. This is going to be a hard pill to swallow, but maybe it's a job. If you are in a job where they are fueling your insecurities, you feel like the worst version of yourself, take out your resume. I'm not saying quit tomorrow without a second source of income and don't call me and be like, Cesley, I quit my job. What do I do? But I am saying you need to start looking for an exit plan because the dollars in your bank account, just like Brandi said, is not your value, is not your worth. Yep. If you are showing up somewhere where you feel terrible about yourself every single day, you are in the wrong environment. I promise you. I was a leader in an environment for the longest time where my thoughts and my ideas were constantly questioned, battled. I felt like I was going to bat for people 24/7, and my opinions weren't taken seriously ever. I am now in a place where my leadership is not only valued, but it's encouraged. Like, I'm told constantly, and it's such a beautiful place to be in. I am told constantly that I am not only doing a great job, but that what I bring to the table is valued, and that my opinions and my energy, even like this specifically was told to me, my energy is valued at the table. So stop sitting at tables where you're not wanted. Get up, leave. Like, you do not have to
Create
be
your
there.
own table.
Create your own table. Make a new table. Flip the table.
Yes.
Jesus flipped tables. You can flip the table. Just flip it. You don't even need a table. Go for a walk. You should be outside anyway. You don't even need to sit down. Stop it. Like, stop. We consistently, even with our friends, we consistently put ourselves with our friends who are bashing us because, well, we're loyal, right? Well, they don't treat you very well. Move. Get up and move.
Yep.
Okay. And then let's move on directly to number 7, y'all. You have got to stop comparing yourself to others. I said this example earlier and Brandi was like, what? But a fish isn't meant to fly and a bird dies in water. I tell my children this example. We are not created to be like others. If you were brand new on this earth and you're looking at a fish and you take it out of water and it's flopping around on the ground, you're not like, oh, that fish is broken. That's a stupid fish. That fish is dumb. No, you're like, oh my gosh, that fish needs to be in water, right? Can't put a bird underwater. It's going to drown. You're like, oh, that bird is supposed to fly, right? If you aren't in the right environment, then the gifts and skills that God gave you to impact the world will not shine through. In the right environment, any gift, any skill, anything that you are great at will feel like an insecurity. I mean, 100% of the time. Like, remember the girls in class who talked too much on their report card? That was me. Every time on my report card.
I got like in school suspension for talking too much.
Right.
And also
Look
being
at
late.
us now. We talk for a living. I just want to give you that example. Okay. Maybe you're in the wrong environment. Okay. I just shout out to all the girls who were told they're too much. They talk too much. They're too loud. You know what? That's not my problem. Not my monkeys, not my circus. Now I get to talk to people for a living all the time.
I love that. I love that so much. Especially your, little fish analogy.
Fish can't fly and birds can't swim.
And that's all the time, like finding, and that's what we're going to go on is focusing your strengths next. But even if you are in the same environment as somebody else, maybe you guys do have the same, unique gifts, right? Say, Cesley and I, we're both trainers. So don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20. I feel like we do that a lot when we're in the same area and we're like, oh, this person's here, this person's there. They didn't just get there, honey. They worked for it, right? So appreciate where you are now when you're working towards where you want to be, and don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20. All right, number 8. Focus on your strengths, okay? Recognize and appreciate your unique abilities, talents, and qualities, all right? Engage in activities that showcase these strengths and build your self-esteem. For example, we all know now I am not great at grammar. So am I going to be writing, a novel? A book or something without some kind of help? It's probably going to be frustrating. No, I'm not. But do I like to speak publicly? A fun fact, I don't even know if Cesley knows this, but I was president of our theater club in high school, junior and senior year. I love theater. I love public speaking, right? So maybe I do that more than writing, Maybe it's just going to be easier for me. It makes me feel better because it's something that I'm better at. And of course, things that you want to improve on, you improve on as well. But just do more things that you are great at and build your self-esteem. All right. Number 9, step out of your comfort zone. I don't know if that's going to sound weird on the podcast. I'm like beating the table a little bit. Because this is one of my biggest tips that I can have for anybody, right? Get out of your comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. You are not going anywhere if you're not pushing yourself a little bit, right? So take calculated risks and try new experiences, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Each step outside of your comfort zone expands your confidence and resilience. Okay. Here's
Yes.
the thing. Even in like, just talk about muscle groups, right? Like if you're not lifting heavy enough, you're not going to deteriorate that muscle to rebuild it to then
Mhm.
lose the weight, right? You have to lift heavy and it's going to hurt and it's going to be hard. Same thing with we talked about in a past episode, like go that extra rep, go all the way to the 30 seconds. I've done a few things this past few weeks, and Cecily knows, out of my comfort zone. Okay. You guys, we've been talking about this gratitude journal that we're creating for you. Fun fact, I've been working on it for like 3 weeks. Okay.
A lot
It is
harder than we
it is not a strength of mine, figuring it out on Canva, putting it on Amazon for you guys. But we're slowly but surely getting there. But I'm a better person because I stepped outside of my comfort zone too, right? And I know I'm kind of contradicting of don't do things that you're not great at. And now I'm like, hey, do those things outside your comfort zone. Don't you get what I'm
try them,
saying here?
do them. Yeah.
Okay. If it's going to better you in your profession, learn, grow, get out of your comfort zone, do things that make you feel uncomfortable. I'm not saying you have to jump out of a plane. All right. I'm saying
Unless
just
it's on your
challenge
bucket list, jump out of a plane.
which I have done before too. Fun fact.
See?
All right, Cecily. Oh my goodness, we are rocking. This is going to be so good, guys. We're going to land this plane. We just got a few more things for you. Cecily's going to give you number 10.
Number 10. Number 10, you guys, practice self-compassion. I know that seems like it would be like a gimme, like, oh, duh, we're supposed to talk nicely to ourselves, but you don't. But you don't. Every woman I speak to speaks to themselves like somebody they hate. I really need you to start speaking to yourself like somebody you love, right? Here's what and Brandi mentioned this on a previous episode, but if you were to write down all the negative things you say about yourself, is that stuff that I would want to turn around and say to my daughter? Probably not. If I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, look at this like post baby belly. Look at my body. It looks so different than it used to look. Or I really should be further ahead in building my business than I am right now. Oh, I'm so bad at this. I'm so bad at that. Guess what? You would never speak to anyone else that way ever. You must treat yourself with kindness and understanding. You have to acknowledge that everybody has insecurities. Like you have to just meet yourself where you're at. You have to acknowledge that everyone has insecurities and it's absolutely okay to feel them. Our job is to now accept where we're at, feel them, and then have enough compassion and love for ourselves to change the way we treat ourselves. So here's an action item we want to leave you guys with.
Wait. I want to say one thing.
Go ahead.
So just what Cecily was saying with the practice self-compassion, and then she used the after baby body analogy, right? So we're going back to changing your initial thoughts. So I just had a baby. He's 4 months old today, Cecily.
Baby.
I know. And my body changed a lot. I have had 4 pregnancies in 5 years. Okay. My last pregnancy was at risk. I couldn't move like I usually could. So I did have that initial thought. I was so upset and ashamed of where my body was. And then I stopped and I said, no, I had 4 beautiful pregnancies. Okay. I have 2 amazing sons. I created that. My body did. So if you are postpartum, or maybe you had a baby 5 years ago, 10 years ago, there's no freaking judgment here. You are beautiful and you are strong and you created a human, and do not let those negative thoughts bring you down because you're not where you were when you were 17. And let's all not try to be where we were when we were 17, because our body has gone through so much and our body is beautiful just the way it is.
And also, like, you wouldn't want to have the mind that you had when you were 17, right?
No.
So we can't have one without the other, right? If you wouldn't want your 17-year-old brain, you don't get your 17-year-old body. Who would want that? You're so right, Brandi. When your body can do such incredible, amazing things for you every day, even the movement that you have. Look at some people and the option that they don't have to move. Some people are very stagnant in their life. You have the ability to get up and move and create life. Like, that's an incredible thing. Your body is worth so much more than just the object that you treat it as. Just period. Point blank, period. You have to start treating yourself with compassion. On that note, that was really great. Action item for you guys. We're going to leave you with this, okay? We want you to write out a list of positive affirmations for when you're feeling insecure. I want you to make it at least 10 items, at least, okay? Put it in your phone, put it on a piece of paper, put it in your bathroom, somewhere where you spend a lot of time. So if you're getting ready in your bathroom and that's where you're going to look at yourself and judge yourself the most, put it there. If you're going to judge yourself the most in your car, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, wherever that's at, that's where I want you to put it. Put it on your phone, maybe even as a wallpaper on your phone. So you see it every time you unlock your phone. Okay? Find something that you are passionate about and that you love to do, and make a date with yourself to do that thing this week, just so that you can remind yourself of what an incredible, life-filled person that you are.
I love it, Cecily. And if you weren't taking notes or you were driving, listen to this episode again and take some notes so you can have the 10 tips, all right? Guys, remember, you're worthy, you're capable, you're beautiful, and we can't wait to watch you grow, girl.